All right, welcome again to our last session for the day, the meaning of life. The meaning of life. So I have been speaking, as I said, to your mind the past couple of talks. Now I will be speaking to your heart, existentially, the meaning of life. Question of meaning is one of the most fundamental yearning questions of life. Why am I here for? Does life have any meaning? Albert Camus, as I mentioned him earlier, he's a French existentialist in the myth of Sisyphus. Not syphilis, Sisyphus. He said, judging whether life is worth living amounts to answering the most fundamental question of philosophy. I see many people die because they judge that life is not worth living. I see others paradoxically getting killed for the ideas that give them a reason for living. I therefore conclude that the meaning of life is the most urgent of questions. And I must agree with Albert Camus that the meaning of life is the most urgent of questions. Why? I always like to ask, why? Can some of you or one of you answer the question? Why? Yes. Matthew? Andrew. Yes, Andrew.
I want to see what I've accomplished in 10 years.
Yeah.
That is my life.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. But why else? Good point, Andrew. Why else? Exactly. Exactly. Gives your life purpose. And we'll know what happens when your life has purpose. It also shapes how we live our lives. Questions of meaning impact how we live our lives. Let's begin by exploring what non-believers, atheists specifically, non-believers, said about the meaning of life. Very interesting. Let's look at some of them. Can you see the screen? Jean-Paul Sartre, the famous atheist, existentialist, he said, it is meaningless that we are born. It's meaningless that we die. We are empty bubbles floating on the sea of nothingness. Bertrand Russell said, life is a disease, and the only difference between one man and another is the stage of the disease at which he lives. That was George Bernard Shaw, my bad. Bertrand Russell said, we must build our lives upon the firm foundation of unyielding despair. Lawrence Krauss, famous atheist as well, he said, we are just a bit of pollution. If you got rid of us, the universe would be largely the same. We're completely irrelevant. And lastly, Richard Dawkins said, the universe at the bottom has no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. So this is what non-believers said about the meaning of life. What do you think? It's pretty depressing, isn't it? Are we surprised? I'm not surprised. You know why? Listen to this formula. If there is no God, then everything happened by chance. If everything happened by chance, then there's no design. If there's no design, there's no purpose. If there's no purpose, there's no meaning. Let me repeat that. If there is no God, then everything happened by chance. And if everything happened by chance, then there's no what? design. And if there's no design, there's no purpose. And if there's no purpose, there's no meaning. طيب, let's look at meaning from a different perspective. Meaning unsatisfied. Meaning unsatisfied. Those who search for meaning and sought meaning and were unsatisfied. Any of you watch American football? Not Canadian football, American football. You do? So, do you know this guy? His name is Deion Sanders. He's a very famous football player. He played a cornerback in Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers. He won a couple of Super Bowls and very famous football player. He wrote a book called Power, Money, and Sex, How Success Almost Ruined My Life. Can I ask someone to read this for us? I know it's rather long, but I think it's good. Can you read it? Thank you, but out loud.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. I remember winning the Super Bowl that year. After the game, I was one to go home. And I remember my wife, Carolyn, saying to me, I feel like it's like cut off at the end. Yeah. Oh, I can read it up there, yeah. Okay. After the game, I was the first one to go home, and I remember my wife, Carolyn, saying to me, "You just won the Super Bowl. Don't you have a party downstairs to go to?" And I just said, "Nah," and I rolled over and went to sleep. That was the same week I bought myself a brand new $275,000 Lamborghini, and I haven't even driven a mile before I realized, no, that's not it. That's not what I'm looking for. It's got to be something else. I'm so hungry. I tried everything. Parties, women, buying expensive jewelry and gadgets, and nothing helped. I got all this media attention and everything the world has to offer, but no joy, just emptiness inside. The Bible describes it as chasing after the wind, and that's exactly what it was like. I tried to buy myself something to make me happy, and I was even emptier than before because I could see that nothing could possibly satisfy the hunger that was deep down inside of me. I achieved every goal I could think of. I was right back where I started. Empty and nothing I did could fulfill that deep loneliness inside of me. My attorney, Eugene, could see what I was going through. He talked about his faith, how Jesus Christ gave his life purpose, meaning, and joy. I started asking Eugene what it meant to be a believer in Jesus Christ.
And he became a believer in Jesus Christ and realized that this is what he was looking for all along. Interesting perspective from someone who had it all, according to the standards of this world. Thank you, by the way. You all know these people? Famous Hollywood actors and actresses, stars. Maybe you know some of them, if not all of them. What do they all have in common? Thank you. Suicide. They all died by suicide. And they had everything. According to the standards of this world, they had it all. Just like Deion Sanders, he had it all. Everything. Success according to the measures of this world. Now, let me ask you this question. What is the world to us? Remember, we're talking about meaning unsatisfied. So I have 3 points. First, atheist's perspective on meaning. Second point, meaning unsatisfied. And thirdly, what gives life meaning. So we're in the second section, meaning unsatisfied. What is the world to us? I say that this world is like someone pointing to what lies beyond it. A pointer to what goes beyond this world. Let me give you some analogies. Let's say you're driving down the highway and you're starving. And then you see a sign that says food next right. What would you say if you saw someone who's hungry, wants to be nourished and quenched and all that, and would park his or her car right underneath this sign and holds onto it, hoping to be nourished? What would you say to someone like that? Crazy. And a lot of other things. But my dear friends, we sometimes do the exact same thing. To the world, we hold on to it, hoping to be nourished, fulfilled, satisfied, and it cannot fulfill, nourish, nor satisfy. Why? Because it points to what is beyond it. Listen to what Alistair McGrath said. Alistair McGrath, he's a British theologian, apologist, and author. He said something so beautiful, I want to share it with you. We don't belong here. We have somehow lost our way. This makes our present existence both strange and splendid. Strange because it is not where our true destiny lies. Splendid because it points ahead to where that real hope is to be found. Listen carefully. But if we mistake the signpost for what is signposted, we will attach our hopes to lesser goals, which cannot finally quench our thirst for meaning and joy. It's like this crazy person who's holding on to the sign, mistaking what? The signpost for what is signposted. I'll give you another example. If you have a pet that is not a very smart pet, and then you prepare the food for your, let's say, dog in the kitchen, and then you point to where the food is, and the dog comes and sniffs your finger, thinking that the food is in your finger. But the finger is just what? Pointing to where the food is. Well, my dear friends, our culture and our society has conditioned us to be adult finger sniffers, to look at the sign. Forgive me for the analogy, Akhlit. To be looking for the signpost, not what is signposted, to what it points towards. So you'll keep holding on to this world only to be disappointed, not nourished, not satisfied. His Holiness Pope Shenouda said, I want nothing from the world, for the world is too poor to give me what I need. If what I want is available in the world would be heaven. How powerful is this? The world is too poor to give me what I need. So the world cannot satisfy, cannot give me meaning in life. Why is that? Because there's a principle I want to share with you. Nothing less than yourself can ever satisfy yourself. Now remember this principle. Nothing less than yourself can ever satisfy yourself. And everything in this world is less than yourself. Everything in this world is less than yourself. Only Him who created you can satisfy you. And we know this by what Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I did not withhold my heart from any pleasure. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had done, and on the labor in which I had toiled, and indeed all was vanity and grasping of the wind. We know the Samaritan woman and her story with the Lord Jesus, when He told her, whoever drinks of this water shall thirst again. What water? The water that comes from the earth. Anything that comes from the earth will never fulfill, will never satisfy. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. I have a video, I think it's a minute-long video clip. Now, do we have sound? I think we should have sound. So the TV's volume is up? Okay. So let's listen to this, person who's contemplating on the Samaritan woman and how she cannot be fulfilled with the water that she gets from the world. Let's see what he says. And I can't play it with my iPad with this. Give me a second. I think it's a video worth playing. All right. I hope this works. I hear it, but not loud enough. This woman, she is convinced that what she needs in order to fix her thirst. You guys see it? I hear it, I don't see it. I hear it, I don't see it. Okay, you see it now? All right. Let's hear it and see it. Okay. Final try. What?
She is convinced that what she needs in order.
So, can we just hear it? Okay, معلش. I can't do both, like, apparently. All right, forget the video.
This woman, she is convinced that what she needs in order to fix her thirst problem is more jars. And we do the same thing, don't we? We think that in order to change the way we see ourselves or fix our self-esteem problem, we need more jars. Some of y'all, you have had low self-esteem and a low self-image for years, and you're just throwing jars at the problem. More workouts, more makeup, a better body, more boyfriends, more hookups, more girlfriends, another jar, maybe this will change things, maybe this will make me not hate myself, maybe this text, or maybe drinking this, or maybe trying this, another jar, does this make it better, does this make it better? But I came here to tell you tonight that your problem is not the jar, people. Your problem is that you're drawing from the wrong well.
That's it. It would have been nice if you saw his reactions as well. He's a 29-year-old preacher. So I think it was very powerful, in my opinion, is that we keep throwing jars. Maybe this will fix my problem. Maybe this will fix my problem. But the problem is not the jars, people. The problem is that we're drawing from the wrong well. That's the problem. Maybe I can show you the video in another way, another time. Back to what we were saying. Where were we? I hope this works. Nope. Is it working now? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So now we get to the third and last section. So we said, what do atheists say about meaning in life? Meaning unsatisfied. The world cannot satisfy. Where does meaning come from? What gives life meaning? Question for you. What gives life meaning? I think you said it. Or you. Purpose. What else? Purpose and something else. Purpose and value. They both give life meaning. Let me explain. When I say purpose, question is, what am I living for? Is there a purpose for my life? What is the purpose in my life? And value is equally important for meaning in life. What is my worth? Is my life worth anything at all? Is it better lived than not? What is my value? What is my purpose? Now, another question for you. What determines my value? What determines my purpose? Come on, you have to wake up with me. خليكم معايا. What determines my value? What determines my purpose? And what determines my value is the same entity that determines my purpose. Of course, you can never go wrong with the answer God. Where I came from. My Creator will determine my value. My Creator will determine my purpose, and it's a better word is my origin. So if I am an atheist who does not believe in God as my origin, what would be my explanation for where I came from? Chance. مش كده؟ Time plus matter plus chance. What does that say about value and purpose? No value, no purpose. But if I am created by God, who infused his purpose in me and has given me value, then I do have value, I do have purpose, based on where I came from. Does that make sense? So, my origin determines my value and my purpose. And here is the formula. Origin, where you came from, whether God or chance or blind forces of nature, whatever you want to call it, will determine what is your worth and what you're here for. And value and purpose will give life meaning. This is the formula that I wanted to share with you. Now, I'll give you an analogy. Let's say, if I have a pen, let's say this pen, let's just assume for the sake of illustration, it can speak. And you ask this pen, when are you most fulfilled, satisfied, and meaningful? What do you think it will say? Exactly, when I'm being used to write with. مش كده? Now, who decided that this pen is to be used for this purpose? Exactly, the one who manufactured this pen. Let's say if I use this pen to open this door because it was locked, what will happen to it? It will break. Why? Because I am using it for a different purpose. A different purpose from what it was intended for. Likewise, we ourselves, when we do not fulfill the purpose for which we were created, we break. How do I know my purpose? I have to go back to my Maker and ask Him, what is my purpose in life? Because when I fulfill this purpose in life, I become most joyful, fulfilled, and satisfied. You see? So remember that. Don't break if you're ever living not according to the purpose for which God created you. Here's what C.S. Lewis said. As I told you, I'm a big fan of his. God made us, invented us, as a man invents an engine. A car is made to run on gasoline. That's pre-electric cars. And it would not run properly on anything else. Now, God designed the human machines to run on Himself. He Himself is the fuel our spirits were designed to burn, or the food our spirits were designed to feed on. There is no other. That is why it is just no good asking God to make us happy in our own way without bothering about Him. God cannot give us a happiness and peace apart from Himself, because it's not there. There's no such a thing. He is the fuel our bodies are designed to run on. That's why when I asked the question about our purpose and journey in life, I say that we were created by God to live in this world like God so that we can be in eternity with God. What is this? Past, present, future. And I call this the journey of life. And every journey has past, present, future. Where did we come from? That's a question of the past. I came from God. Why are you here? That's the question of the present. I am here to know God, to make Him known, to glorify Him, and to live with Him, and to be in alignment with His commandments. So where are you going in the future? I want to be with Him in eternity. So do you see how God is the common denominator in the answer, or I should say numerator, in the answer for these questions? So I'll finish by saying this. It is life under the sun that gives life under the sun ultimate meaning. So we covered all three sections. Meaning, what do atheists say about meaning in life? And you heard all the depressing statements from atheists. Why? Remember what I said? If there's no God, then everything is chance. If everything's by chance, then there's no design. If there's no design, there's no purpose. If there's no purpose, there's no meaning. And then I said also, we mentioned meaning unsatisfied. This world can never quench my thirst for meaning. Why? Because everything in this world is what? Less than myself. And nothing less than myself can quench my thirst for meaning. And this world is only but what? A pointer that points to what lies beyond it. And then we said that meaning comes from two things: purpose and value. And who gives you this purpose and value? Whoever created you. If you were created by blind forces of nature, then your purpose and value is as such. If you're created by God who has given you value and purpose, then you do have value and purpose. Then you have the ability to, out of value and purpose, make your life meaningful. So if you don't have a meaningful life, you need to go back and check, what is my true worth? I am the child of God. I am created in His image. I am worth His blood on the cross. That's my worth and value. What is my purpose? My purpose is to get to know who God is and to grow in His love. And once you accomplish these two, you have a life that is filled with meaning. Glory be to God forever. Amen. Any comments or questions? This was different from the last two sessions because I said earlier, I'm going to be speaking to your heart, not to your mind. So this is not so much an apologetic kind of session, not an intellectual, philosophical, all of that, but I think it's important for us in this life to know where meaning comes from and if we have a meaningful life or not. Comments or questions? Any comments or questions? Yes, sir. تحت أمرك.
Have meaning of my life should be a very famous preacher and bring a lot of people to Jesus and do a lot of services in the church and these things, or maybe I can have meaning when I'm just love Jesus and try to obey His commandments.
Of course. Who said that you have to do one or the other? Listen, again, I'll answer all your questions from the scriptures. What does St. Paul say? Everyone was given what? Exactly, a gift, talent and gift. St. Peter says it. Now, somebody may object and says, I don't know, I don't think I have any gifts. I'll object. St. Peter says it in his epistles. He said, as each one has received a gift, minister it to one another. He didn't say, as most of you have received gifts. As each one has received a gift. So every one of us, every single one of us has a gift, a God-given gift. And when God gives you a gift, it's not like when I give you a gift. We gift each other weddings, anniversaries, graduations, birthdays, and sometimes we gift each other gifts that we don't need, and we keep them in the garage, and then we re-gift them to someone else. We just hope we don't re-gift them to the person who gave it to us, and all of these things. We do all of that because sometimes we don't know what you need. We don't know, so we just give you a gift to khalas. That's not how God gives us gifts. God gives us gifts that are for us, for our edification, and for the edification of the church and of everybody else. So you have a gift, you have a gift, you have a gift. Everyone has a gift. Use this gift for the edification of the body. The more you use your gift, the more the body is edified. And when the body is edified, the head is glorified. You see? And that's what we need to do. Ask God, what is my gift? So I can use it. That your gift could be to be the preacher that brings thousands of people to Christ. Hello, awi. Your gift could be a one-on-one person. Your gift could be to help someone to do something good. Your gift could be so many things. It's not just one thing. All right. Any other question on meaning, purpose? Yes, sir.
Aside from, obviously, like you said, ask God for, like, what is my gift? What are some practical ways that one can find what their gift
Absolutely.
is?
Ask someone else. Because they act as your mirror. They may know things about you that you don't know about yourself. So I go ask, well, trusted someone else, not مش حد في الشارع. You know, you ask your, if you're married, don't ask your spouse. Okay, ask your, because she may say other gifts that you don't want to hear. But I would say, ask someone that you trust. Ask your father of confession. Ask your friend. Ask your, relatives. They do act as my mirror, and they can tell me your gift is X, Y, and Z. Sometimes you don't know that. Out of humility, we'll sometimes suppress these gifts and say, "Oh, I'm not these gifts." Out of fake humility, I call it. But that's not humility. Humility is to say, I have gifts, but they're God-given. And I'll use it for the furtherance of the kingdom of God. So something else is to go through self-assessment questionnaires. I do that at work. We do self-assessments. Personality tests. Are you this? Are you that? There's a lot of them out there. So these, I would say, are practical tips and tricks. Unless you think of something else, share with us. Yes, sir. Can you share your gifts? Share what gift you have, or share the... well, gifts are given to be shared. Here, let me give you my assessment on gifts. Gifts are not toys to play with. Gifts are not weapons to fight with. Gifts are not trophies to show off with. Gifts are tools to build the kingdom with God with. Okay? Remember that. They're not trophies, they're not toys, and they're not what? Weapons. They are tools given to you so you can build the kingdom of God with his grace, of course. Anybody? Yes, sir. Welcome to your church.
Looking at your presentation, I had the question about, what do you say to atheists who feel like they have found their purpose? Like they think what you're saying is wrong, and like they feel like they already found their purpose.
Yeah, I wish you were here earlier, because I think we touched on that. I said that many of those who say, I found my purpose, I don't believe in God, these are words that are coming from their lips, not their heart. And I proved it to all of those who were here by going over 6 or 7 very famous atheists, such as John Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, Friedrich Nietzsche, Bertrand Russell, Sigmund Freud, all those atheists, in the moment of truth on their deathbed, they realized their deep-rooted need for a creator. So if they tell you, I'm fine, lip service, they're not really fine. Because you can't be fine. Does that answer your question? Yes. Anyone, any other comments or questions? Are you all tired? Comments or questions? You guys have I read your questions. They're awesome questions. Very good thought-provoking questions. Anything else? You're all so quiet. What happened? I tried to make this short علشان to allow time for Q&A, or Q at least. اتفضل يا uncle.
The atheists have missed a very important question. The value, actually, finding the value of the scripture verses of Romans chapter 9, verse 21, 22, 23, where God says, I am the pot maker.
I'm the what?
I'm the pot maker.
Ah, okay.
I create vessels
Yes.
for destruction and vessels for honor. And the last one has very resounding implications to the gifts.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with us. All right. Shall we just go over some questions and call it a day? Are you guys cool with that? So it's now 4 o'clock. So can you give me maybe 15 minutes? Is that okay? 15? Yeah, in 15 minutes we'll go over some questions and unless you guys have questions. Do you have any? I was hoping you guys have more questions than this. Okay. No, there was like 35 questions already. Okay. Nishi. Thank you. No problem. All right. I'll say the question and I'll try to be again as concise as possible. If the universe is infinite, or there are multiverses, then everything has happened. Thus, our reality is a 100% chance, and it's not created out of intelligence. Okay? Well, what's wrong with the question? I'm not going to answer these questions. I'll dissect them first, and then have you tell me what's wrong with the question. The word if. Well, how do you know that the universe is infinite? Yani, how do you know the universe is infinite? As a matter of fact, science proves otherwise. And how do you know that they're multiverse? Multiverse theory has been debunked many times, but how do you know? Has not been proven. So, another question. Every religion has solid proof, ancient text miracles to prove their own religion. What makes Christianity different? Come tomorrow. That's the session that we're going to have tomorrow. The uniqueness of Christianity without using the scriptures. How do you know there is eternal life after death? I think I shared with you the argument from desire, because I have an inherent desire that points to or that desires a world that is all what harmony, joy, and peace that this world cannot provide. That's number one. Number two, because I believe in the authenticity of the scriptures and I have evidence for that, and the scriptures also tells me that there is heaven after death. And can I tell you why I also believe in heaven, in life after death? Now let's do some philosophy and logic. Listen to this. What makes my daily endeavors in this life meaningful? What I mean to say is, if I go to school and there's no graduation, would going to school be of any meaning at all? So graduating is what? Something I hope to have because I study, I need to graduate. Let's say I go to work. What makes going to work every day meaningful? The hope of what? Getting a paycheck. I train and compete in this game every day, hoping to get the trophy, win the cup, right? So every endeavor in life becomes meaningful when there is hope beyond this endeavor. Are you with me? Now, if what makes life those little parts of life, what makes them meaningful is what lies, or the hope beyond those little endeavors. What about the sum total of these little endeavors? Life itself can only become meaningful if there's hope for something beyond it. Do you see? And it's pure math and logic. If the little parts become meaningful for what lies beyond it, then the sum total of these parts should also be meaningful if there's hope beyond it. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. How can I convince my friend that God is always with him? My friend sometimes resorts to drugs to solve problems, but I'm trying to help him. Yes, that's very Christian of you. I think by being there, sometimes when you are just there with your friend, this is all they need. Mere presence is therapeutic, and not so much giving advice, but just to be there is very helpful and therapeutic, and lend a listening ear to their problems. Sometimes this is what people do. You know, people pay a lot of money to psychologists just to have someone to listen to them. And in this day and age, this has been a lost art, listening to others. If God gave us free will, then how come some people don't go to heaven because of the choices they make? It's because God gave us free will. I don't understand the question. If God gave us free will, how come some people don't go to heaven because of the choices they make? Well, God gave us free will to either choose him or reject him. If God is all good, then how does he permit evil and suffering? This is what we're going to probably discuss next year when we meet. I'll just finish the questions real quick, Uncle, and then I'm all yours. تحت أمرك.
Choose to know him.
Yes.
And without that, there's no life after death.
Beautiful. I love that. Short to concise and to the point, so that we can choose to know him. Really. How do you respond to someone who thinks the church is evil since it rejects the LGBTQ people? Who said that the church rejects them? I just said earlier, the church should never reject the LGBTQ people. The church should love them, but rejects what? Reject what they do. And you know why we reject what they do? Because we love them. Not despite. It's because we love them. Like when you see someone who's walking, who's blind, and who's walking, and you know that there's a ditch that eventually, if they continue walking, they'll fall and hurt themselves. You know what society says? Tolerance. Who are you to judge? We hear this all the time. Don't judge anyone. Let them walk. But wait a minute. But if they continue walking, they will fall and hurt themselves. So there's the difference between love and tolerance. Society preaches tolerance. Christianity preaches love. It's because I love you. I don't want you to continue going a path that will eventually harm you. So should we love them? 100%. Would Christ love them? 100%. Would Christ accept them? Yes. But he would stand firm against what they do. And we have the example of the Samaritan woman and others. Yes. Clara. Very good point. No, we're not passive. Absolutely. We're not complicit or passive or just accepting it blindly. No, I show love to you sometimes more than others. And compassion. And don't come across as holier than thou either. But I stand firm in rejecting lovingly your lifestyle. Again, driven out of love, not driven out of, I'm better than you, I know more, and so on and so forth. Do you see the difference? There you go. At the end, he says, go and sin no more. But he, as he said, he accepted her He didn't judge her, but he told her that what you were doing was sinful. Can I tell you why it's different? We always hear this cliche or this soundbite, love the sinner, hate the sin. We always hear that. Do you know why it's so difficult to do that? I'll tell you why. There's a difference between two worldviews. واحدة اسمها existentialism, الوجودية. This is what society operates under, existentialism. With Christianity. Existentialism or secularism says what you do defines who you are. You're defined by what you do. So if you reject my homosexuality, you're not rejecting what I do. You're rejecting me. I cannot separate what I do from who I am. That's why when you meet someone for the first time, what is the question you ask? Hey, so what do you do? Oh, you're an engineer. That's who you are, an engineer, pharmacist, a doctor, whatever. Christianity is different. Christianity doesn't say what you do determines who you are. Christianity says who you are determines what you're capable of doing. You see, my identity in the secular world comes from what I do. My identity in Christianity, where did I come from? God. Do you see the difference? So that's why when I say, I don't like what you do, but I like you, it's very difficult for the secular world to understand. But for the Christian, yes, it's very, very obvious, because Christ modeled that for us. The woman caught in adultery is a perfect example. Does that make sense? All right. Are all meant to be apologetic? Are we all meant to be apologists? They mean to say, and be the one to expose atheist knowledge, or is it enough just to live a Christian life without preaching? Excellent question. I would like to share with you an important principle again. It's called the myth of neutrality. You cannot be neutral in this world as a Christian. You either build with Christ or something else. I did not say that. Christ did. He said, if you're not building with me, you're destroying. You cannot just be status quo. I'll just live and let live. Malish da'wa. I'll just mind my own business. Absolutely not. I wrote one time, I think on a social media outlet, and I said, there are two reasons why people do not come to the knowledge of Jesus Christ. Two reasons. You know what they are? One, they have never met a Christian. Two, they have met a Christian. You see, you cannot be neutral. You're either bringing people to Christ or the other way around. So you don't have to be an apologist preaching and speaking. As I mentioned earlier, just use your gift for the edification of the body of Christ. How do you know the Bible is real? That's in the book, and I have a chapter on the authenticity of the scriptures. Two more questions. What proves, I think we had this discussion earlier, proof, I guess they meant proof is there that there isn't all a simulation. Okay, I think I know what they mean. And احنا basically عايشين في simulation. That's because of the TikTok videos that are surfacing. Everything is an illusion, simulation. Well, if everything is a simulation, then this question is also a simulation. So, indeed, there's nothing that was asked. And if someone says, like this reminds me of someone that came up and said, everything in life is meaningless. I said, no, I don't agree. They repeated themselves. Everything is in this life is meaningless. I said, well, if that is the case, then what you just said is also meaningless. Then you have just said nothing. So if everything is simulation, then I am a simulation, that you're a simulation, that there's nothing to say. But that is not the case. Because I can also ask the question, who asked this question? It's you, so you're not a simulation. Just because Christianity has an answer to unknown questions doesn't mean it's the right answer. That's tomorrow's discussion. Why does God force me to believe in Him? And if I don't, I will burn in hell. Okay. God does not force you to believe in him. There's no force. God just gives you the choice to either be with him or not be with him. And but he also points out that being with him is the path of joy. And he doesn't send you to hell. Remember what I said? Remember Frank Sinatra's song? All those who are in hell are singing his song. What is it? I did it my way. Those who go to hell, I think, yeah, this is what C.S. Lewis said earlier. I mentioned that to you. That those who go to hell with their own freedom. Why would God drown thousands of people for not believing in him? I think that's also answered in the book, Why Does God Seem So Violent in the Old Testament? Seem so violent in the Old Testament. I have a chapter on that in the book. Okay, I said two more, and these are so many good questions. Who made God? That's chapter number 2 in the book. Remember what I said about the cosmological argument? Everything that begins to exist has a cause. Underline the word begins to exist. God is beyond time. He is what? Timeless. If he's beyond time, then he has no beginning. If he has no beginning, he is uncaused. Okay, last question, I promise. Is there a good time to talk to others about God? Is there a time when it's not wise to do so? Yes. Wisdom is extremely essential when you're discussing your faith with others. What does that mean? 3 things. Say the right thing at the right time with the right approach. Remember those 3 things. It's what you say, when to say it, how you say it. So pray that God may give you wisdom. And I'll end with a personal story. I have a friend of mine, a colleague at work. I work in the healthcare industry in the consulting field and data analytics field. So one of my colleagues came to me and said, George, I want to learn more about Christianity. I know you do Christian stuff and all of this, whatever. I said, sure, my pleasure, but I can't talk to him at work. So I take him out to lunch and talk to him about Christ, and I gave him the Gospel of John, and he had very fruitful conversations. Before I go to lunch, I go to my office and I close. This is when I used to go to the office. I close the door, and I genuinely, authentically, pray a little prayer, 10-second prayer. I say, God, help me say to him what you want me to say to him, or what you want to say to him. Use me as your voice box, an instrument in your hand to send him your message. Why, God? Because you love him more than I do. Why? Because you died for him, I didn't. I am only the messenger. Help me touch his heart with your words, not mine. You say this genuinely, not just nice words, not just to appear humble. No, genuinely. And you go out and you feel, and it's amazing how you realize that you're saying things, you remember things that you would have never remembered otherwise, and you feel like God is really speaking through you, touching his heart. So I encourage you, and whenever I get a question from the audience, when I speak to atheists on college campuses and I get a difficult question, do you think I just impulsively respond? No, I get a few seconds of God, give me wisdom to respond to this question, because I want you to give me your grace in responding, not just my intelligence or my knowledge. That doesn't mean anything without the grace of God. So thank you for your time. I appreciate the time I spent with you. I appreciate those questions. Very well written, thought-provoking questions. I loved all the comments you made, and I hope to see you, God willing, tomorrow. Very important session. Why am I a Christian without using the scriptures? And in the meantime, I ask you all to pray for me. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, George, so much. You gave us a drive and it's going to entice us kidda to come back tomorrow as well for the session. If you haven't done so, we still have copies of George's books. We wanted to keep this like day very like, very like nonchalant so that everyone can actually attend and join and participate. We realized this topic is so needed for us. So we prepared like a USB for each one to take home, each family or group, household, if I might say, that you can take with you. This USB has resources in English that George has given previous talks at, as well in English and in Arabic as well, and some text resources that you can refer to as well. So, you can take one per household. If your parents are coming at night, please let them know that, hey, I've taken one. This USB has these resources in English and in Arabic as well. It's the same USB that will be given to the parents at night. Who else here, just a show of hands, will be coming tomorrow? Okay, great. Awesome. Would you guys like to have George with us next year? Yani, just so that George can hear it himself. Yani, if I come and approach him, he's not going to tell me, David, it's only you that want me back. Awesome. Thank you, George, so much. Any other questions, comments? Tomorrow it's from exactly 12 to 1:30. We will be very on time because George actually is flying out right away. So even if you're here like after the liturgy, we'll actually try to have it like right after so that he can do the session and then we'll fly out right away to the airport. There's a parents session this evening in Arabic from 7 to 8:30. For those of you who are here, or maybe your parents would like to come, 7 to 8:30, it will be here in the church. So right after the Ashaya would be like half an hour earlier, and then the session will be right away from 7 to 8:30. Awesome. Did everyone get a USB? Awesome. We'll take one last picture, and then everyone will leave. One last thing, we've also set up a donation box to those of you who would be interested to help with this event today, to donate for this event and future events. Please, you can put in a donation for the church or donate using the church email. I think it's accounting. Kiro, what's the email for the donation? accounting@stminahamilton.ca. Okay. STMINA Hamilton.ca. Yeah, if you can put in the notes what the money is for this event, that'd be great. Church events? Church events. Okay, if we can just gather together just for one last picture, and then we'll send George on his way.